You're so smart, so driven, you could go anywhere. That's what everyone always told Chidima. And she believed them, until one man made her question everything. This isn't just a story about falling in love. It's about falling for the wrong person and learning how to stand back up. Chidinma had always played by the rules. Firstborn daughter of a middle-class Nigerian family, she grew up with high expectations and even higher standards. Her days were filled with textbooks, part-time jobs, and helping her younger siblings with homework. She wasn't flashy, but she was focused, and everyone in her neighborhood knew that girl's going somewhere. University came with a scholarship, and her parents couldn't have been prouder. Her mother framed every certificate. Her father would mention her GPA to anyone who'd listen. Chidinma's life was mapped out. Graduate, get a great job, help support the family, maybe move abroad one day. There was comfort in the plan. But deep inside, she sometimes wondered, is this all there is? Toby came like a gust of wind, unpredictable, exciting, and a little dangerous. They met at a mutual friend's birthday party. He wasn't like the other guys. He didn't care about degrees or job titles. He talked about freedom, travel, owning multiple businesses. He had big dreams and made her feel like she could dream bigger, too. Chidinma, you're too brilliant to be stuck in a cubicle your whole life. Let's build something real together. At first she resisted, but slowly he pulled her in. He was persuasive, charming, and intoxicating. He took her to places she'd never been, not just physically, but emotionally. With him, she felt alive. Within 6 months, she was in love. It started small. Toby pitched a business idea, a boutique import company that would source goods from Dubai and resell them locally. He showed her a beautiful presentation, claimed he had contacts, even dropped a few financial terms she didn't fully understand. He needed capital, just 800,000 naira to get things off the ground. She hesitated. That was all she had saved from part-time tutoring and school stipends. Babe, this is for our future. You're not losing money. You're investing in us. She transferred it. Then came another request. 250,000 naira for freight delays. Then another, 180,000 naira for customs issues. Before she realized what was happening, she had emptied not just her savings, but borrowed 500,000 naira from a cooperative loan group, lying that it was for school expenses. The business never launched. The goods never arrived. Toby slowly started disappearing. He became distant, canceled dates, dodged calls. When she showed up at his apartment unannounced, he wasn't there, and neither were most of his belongings. One day he vanished completely, blocked her on WhatsApp, left her in silence. The knock on the door came 2 weeks later. A man in a dark shirt handed her a final notice. Repayment was due. She had 14 days or legal action would begin. Chidinma tried to hide it from her parents, but when the phone rang and her father overheard the word loan default, the truth came tumbling out. The look on her father's face wasn't anger. It was worse, disappointment. Her mother cried silently, more out of fear than frustration. Why didn't you tell us, Chidinma? How could you trust someone like that? We raised you better. Tell us what really happened. Chidinma sat on the edge of the couch, eyes downcast. The silence was deafening, pierced only by the sound of her father's slippers brushing against the floor. Her mother sat across from her, unmoving. Then it came. I borrowed 500,000 naira, Chidinma whispered, voice breaking. I thought I was investing in something real. Her father's shoulders dropped as if something had knocked the wind out of him. But her mother said nothing. She didn't gasp. She didn't scold. She didn't ask, why? She just sat there, still, quiet. And then slowly tears welled up in her eyes and began to fall, silently. She turned her head away, shielding her face with the edge of her wrapper, as if hiding the tears would soften their meaning. But Chidinma saw them. Those weren't angry tears. They were wounded tears. The kind that don't scream but ache. The kind that say, I gave you everything I had, and you still got hurt. I tried to protect you from this world, and I failed. I want to be angry, but I'm too heartbroken to speak. For Chidinma, those tears hit harder than any punishment ever could. She had disappointed her mother, not just as a daughter, but as the hope her mother had poured her life into. The sacrifices, the late nights sewing clothes for extra income, the fasting and praying, all so that her daughter could live a better life. And now that dream sat bruised on the floor. Chidinma wanted to cry too, but the shame burned hotter than the tears. She got up slowly and crossed the room. Her father said nothing. Her mother didn't turn. But Chidinma knelt beside her mother's chair and gently reached for her hand. Her mother didn't pull away. They sat like that for what felt like hours. No words. Just pain. Shared. In that silence, something began to shift. Not forgiveness yet, but something like it. An understanding. A bridge. The first step home. The evening air was thick with tension. Not anger. Not yelling. Just an eerie, suffocating quiet. Her father stood by the window, arms folded behind his back, staring out as if he could somehow make sense of everything by watching the wind rustle the trees. In his hand, the letter from the loan cooperative trembled slightly. Whether from frustration or disbelief, even Chidinma couldn't tell. You borrowed how much? He had asked earlier, his voice dangerously calm. She had told him, explained, every last mistake. But it wasn't the words that hurt. It was his reaction. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. He just couldn't look at her. This was the man who used to boast about her to neighbors, holding up her test scores with pride, saying, my daughter will make something of herself. The same man who just a year ago smiled wide and shook hands at her scholarship award ceremony, his eyes gleaming with pride and joy. Now he wouldn't meet her gaze. Every time she tried to look at him, searching for even a flicker of reassurance or anger or something, he turned his face ever so slightly away. Not dramatically, just enough to say, I'm not ready to see you yet. And that broke her more than any insult ever could. Because when your father stops looking at you with pride, when his silence becomes a wall between you, when his eyes, once a mirror of belief and encouragement, now dodge yours in quiet disappointment, you begin to wonder if you've lost more than money. You've lost his faith. Chidinma felt the weight of that absence in her chest like a stone. Her mother's tears had cut deep, but her father's avoidance made her feel like a stranger in her own home. She wanted to scream, I'm sorry. She wanted to explain, to beg, to promise she would fix everything. But instead she sat still, eyes wet, throat tight, hands clenched in her lap, as her father walked slowly past her. He paused for just a moment, and then continued on, wordless, as if he couldn't bear to see the daughter who once made him proud reduced to this. Her scholarship was withdrawn due to missed deadlines and poor attendance. She couldn't pay her rent. She had to move back home. The once proud daughter who everyone believed in reduced to whispers, shame, and broken dreams. Months passed. She barely left her room. Her siblings tiptoed around her. Her parents spoke to her, but their voices lacked warmth. The weight of failure pressed down harder than the debt collectors. She applied for jobs, but nothing came. Even volunteering at a youth center felt like punishment. Surrounded by hopeful teens when she had lost her way, she cried almost every night. But then, something shifted. One day, an older woman at the center, a retired teacher, noticed Chidinma's way with the kids. "You have a gift," she said. "You understand them." That was the first real compliment she had heard in months. It stuck with her. She started helping out more, built a small tutoring program, reached out to her old professor who offered her a part-time assistant job. Slowly, opportunities returned. With each small win, she began to forgive herself. She paid off the loan in bits, re-earned her parents' trust with transparency and time. For the first time, not out of obligation, but out of desire, she redefined her path. Today, Chidinma runs her own youth mentorship initiative. She teaches young women how to recognize manipulation, manage finances, and rebuild after heartbreak. She speaks at schools, churches, and community centers. She no longer hides her story. She owns it. "I lost everything, but I gained something better, myself." She still keeps one framed photo on her desk, not of her graduation, but of a journal page titled, "Start Again, Stronger This Time."
Have you ever trusted someone who let you down? What did it teach you? Share your story in a comment. Someone might need it. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories of growth, resilience, and redemption.